You can't claim to be anti-racist if you're not anti-capitalist. That's like being against the product, but not being against the system that created and necessitated the outcome. For example, let's say you're against animal cruelty. However, all the products you buy are from makeup companies that test all their products on animals. It would be extremely hypocritical because you say you're against animal cruelty. However, without your funding and your support, animal cruelty will never cease to exist if you support companies that engage in animal cruelty.
You have privilege.
I'm telling you,
it seems as though you believe that I shouldn't have any privilege, and that's why you're saying I've got privilege just because I'm speaking.
A police officer would arrest me right now, not you. They would accuse me of racism.
That
right
is
now,
a lie.
I would be arrested.
That is a lie.
To report me.
That is a lie. I have experience of police discrimination repeatedly. So what you are saying is from a standpoint of absolute racial privilege.
Racial
So
privilege.
I disagree with everything you're saying.
Do I have this racial privilege as well?
The only people that should be fighting for equality are the homeless white men who need the help, not you who are sat there looking privileged.
How comes we're put on trial?
And who are you?
Me. My name's Will. Nice to meet you.
Well, he's talking about white privilege being disadvantaged, and you don't look white to me, so what is your point?
White.
What is your point? Because you're sitting beside him and he is saying how his white privilege is being eroded.
The police continually discriminate against me as a man, as an Englishman, and as a right-winger, and as a nationalist. That's why the police go after me. They don't go after me because of the colour of my skin.
Ran up and sat beside
if I were some sort of lefty asking them to kneel for me, they'd be kneeling down.
You are contradicting what he is saying. So why have you ran and sat there?
How have I contradicted him?
He's saying his white privilege is being eroded.
There is
and
no white privilege.
You
have black privilege, madam. You are top tier. And apparently, even though you are so privileged because of your skin colour and your sex, you can't see that.
Privilege. I am disadvantaged.
Oh yes, you are. You're very privileged.
How so?
And white, straight
Explain
English
to me how
men
I am
are the
privileged.
bottom of the pile.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
Okay, so every single judge in this country has to demonstrate a commitment to diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Of the pile
included
because
as a
you are white. You don't look white to me. You're absolutely not white.
I'm half
so
white,
what rubbish
so
are
I
you
can't
talking
absolutely not be white.
About white privilege?
I'm talking about black privilege. I'm talking about your black privilege over us as
Explain the
white
black privilege
men,
you
or
feel I
half-white
have.
men. Huh?
The reason we're seeing that teacher Darius Williams, who teaches high school, crying about the fact that high schoolers cannot read, these high school kids that he's teaching do not have the ability to think, to put what they have, their argument to defend towards a piece of literature, even if it's just a paragraph. He's mourning the fact that these kids are 18, 17, 18. They're graduating. They maybe are going to go to college and they cannot read. They cannot write. And the reason he is crying is because he is in a state of mourning, because he understands that this is the future of our nation. These are the kids that are supposed to grow up to be doctors and lawyers so that black and brown children have a better shot in this white supremacy world. He's crying because he's mourning the fact that we don't have high educated children who can form concepts and thoughts and put together reasoning and understand nuance and context and write it down. Everything is digitized now. He said he didn't understand where the problem is, but I think the problem comes in when you have parents that have to work 1 to 2 jobs. Both parents have to work at least 1 or 2 jobs to make ends meet, to be able to afford basic necessities, groceries, and have money left over for the bills and extra money in case something happens, like the car breaks down or whatever the case may be. Then you have this No Child Left Behind business. This is what happens when teachers and districts are underfunded. This is what happens when we push policies that care more about graduation rates than they do about a child understanding what it is they were supposed to have learned in school before they pass on to the next grade. We went from having kids, millennials, who would write essays just hallucinating off the top of our domes and write it down, full 1 to 2 page essays without internet, to now kids using AI as their go-to default for how to write an essay, how to answer a question, how to do a job interview, how to do any motherfucking thing. We have kids that spend more time on TikTok than they do reading a book. And I think this is exactly why Nanny Boo Boo, BB Nanny Boo Boo, said that TikTok was the most important sale that they had going on, because TikTok controls what these children learn. TikTok controls what these children see. And this is why creators like me and other creators get, you know what I mean, taken because they don't want our type of content available to these kids. This is what they want them to learn. They want them to learn Skibbity Toilet and 6-7 and Riz and LARPing and fucking mewing and maxing and all this red pill pipeline shit. They don't want a generation of activists. They don't want a generation of lawyers, of civil rights attorneys. They don't want a generation of doctors who are well-versed and educated. They don't want kids who are aware, who understand nuance and critical theory, critical race theory, concepts and conceptualizing, and they just don't want these kids to know anything other than blind patriotism. That is how authoritarianism continues to thrive, with uneducated subjects, uneducated people in fields, holding jobs that should be making a difference for the better, but instead become part of the militia, instead become part of the regime. That's where the problem lies. Certain individuals keep voting for certain policies, whether it's local elections, whether it's the big elections, that are immediately affecting our children and the future of our nation, the futures of Black and brown kids. We should be mourning. We should be crying. We should be upset. We should be angry. We should be screaming from the rooftops, and we should be doing something about it. We need to take the tablets and the Chromebooks out of the classroom. We need to bring back textbooks. We need to take away the AI. We need to bring back dictionaries and researching and citing your sources. What happened to all of that? All of that I learned, I'm still using to this day. I have a binder this thick of scripts that I write just for TikTok. I will do this for fun. Write 1 to 2 page essays, mind you, scripts of research that I've done before I film a TikTok in most cases. In my free time, I'm researching shit. I'm cross-referencing shit. I'm reading books. And I'm trying to instill that into my Gen Alpha kids because I don't want to be raising that are not going to contribute to the betterment of this nation for Black and brown individuals. So this is where we're at. He has every right to cry. He has every right to be upset because he is in a state of mourning and realization that our future as Black and brown Americans is doomed if these kids cannot read or write.
A Black teenage girl gets slammed in the face by a white cop, and now all of a sudden to Black women, police brutality is no longer attractive. Because aren't y'all the same ones that said that cops, when they slam and they do all this extra police brutality to Black men, that it was attractive, that it was turning on you Black women?
Who is saying that? What Black woman is saying that? I could not even imagine anyone in the Black community saying anything even remotely close to what you said. Our community is a type of community, whether you're a woman or a male, we overanalyze racism, right? Almost to a fault. So I know for a fact that Black women are not saying that police brutality when it's targeted against a man is attractive. There is no way. Maybe one person who is out of their mind said that. Black women, especially when we see injustices to our race, we are the first to say something about it, regardless of who it is. Black women, do you feel this way? Do you feel that it's attractive that a police officer would unfairly and racially target a Black man to the point where they are abusing them? Do you think that that is attractive? I really want you to sound off in the comments. And if you don't think that's attractive, I also want you to put that opinion in the comments, because this man, I'm just not sure where he's getting this take from. Spread love wherever you go, and if you agree with that, follow me, and maybe we can show this man that he is completely wrong in his thinking. Bye.
4 Black people lost their lives in Mississippi under suspicious circumstances, all examined by Dr. Stacey Turner, who ruled every single one no foul play. Give us your medical license. She performed the autopsy of Nolan Wells, who drowned on Horn Island, surrounded by white families who never got him home, had all of his belongings, including his phone, wiped some of his data from it, never notified his family, and don't have their story straight. Dr. Stacey Turner ruled this no foul play and refuses to release the results of her preliminary autopsy, but is keeping back the throat, lungs, and stomach from the family's new private medical examiner for further testing. She also performed Damian Cameron's autopsy, who was tased, beat, and had his neck shoved into the fucking ground by cops, and then minutes later he died in the cop car. Her noted cause of death was undetermined, and after other experts examined his body, they ruled it a homicide. This also happened to Shannon Wilson, who accidentally drowned while playing with a group of white boys at the lake. Dr. Stacey Turner ruled this accidental with no further investigation. And lastly, Trey Reed, who was found hanged on a tree outside his university. She ruled this no foul play, and yet the FBI has been investigating this for about a year now with no answers. So we gotta sign this petition, reach out to her office, and call your representatives. Dr. Stacey Turner very clearly has a racial bias and should not be having her hands on black bodies, let alone any bodies. Share this story and make some noise so we can get someone without a racist agenda handling these precious bodies.